In this video, we will learn about React Router version 6. So I have created a basic React app where, as you can see, we're displaying app component. And inside the app component, we're displaying text hello. And you can see it on the UI as shown here. Now, to use React Router library, we need to install it using npm install React Router DOM. This will install the latest version of React Router DOM library. Now, if you go to package.json file, you can see the latest version of React Router library, which is 6.5.0. To use the React Router library, we need to wrap our entire application inside browser router, which is imported from the React Router DOM library. Now, inside this, we need to define our routes. So let's first create components folder, and inside it we will create home.js file. Now, I can use Raft's shortcut to quickly create a component. To use that shortcut, you can install this ES7 plus snippets extension. Once the extension is installed, you will be able to write it like this. And you will be able to generate snippets quickly, so you don't have to write the same code again and again. Now, we have home component, and to use this component, we need to write it as a route like this. If you have worked with version 5 of React Router, you might have used the component prop and passed the home component directly like this. This was valid till version 5 of React Router. But in version 6 of React Router, instead of component prop, you need to use the element prop. And instead of referencing home component directly, you need to write the component name as JSX element like this. So the value of element prop will always be some JSX, and it cannot be a reference of the component. So this is the first difference between version 5 and version 6 of React Router library. Also, we cannot use route component directly inside the browser router component. Each route we specify need to be defined inside routes component, which is also coming from React Router library. So now, if you check the browser, you can see the text home is displayed correctly, which is coming from the home component. So we're successfully able to display one component using React Router library. Now, let's add another component. Let's name the file profile.js. Now, we will add another route in the index.js file with path/profile. Now, you can see home component content displayed on the home page. And if you go to /profile route, you will see content from profile component. But instead of user typing the path in the URL, it's good to provide navigation where user can click on the link and navigate to a particular page. So let's create header.js file. Here we will create an unordered list. This will be /profile, and the text will be profile. We want this header component to be displayed on every route, so we will add it inside the browser router component like this. So instead of adding the header component in every route component like this, we will add it in browser router component. So every route will have that header displayed. So now if you see, you can see the home component content when clicked on the home link and the profile component content when clicked on the profile link. So now we have the navigation to navigate between different pages. So we have created the navigation menu now. But there is one issue. Keep a closer look at this refresh icon. When I click on any of the navigation link, our entire page is getting refreshed, which is not good. Because if we have some data stored in the state and if we refresh the page, then all our data will get lost. So in the next lesson, we will see how to fix it. In the previous lesson, we created a navigation menu. But there is one issue with this navigation. Keep a closer look at this refresh icon here. When we click on any of the links, our entire page is getting refreshed, which is not good. Because if we're storing component information in the state, your entire state will get lost when the page is refreshed. This is happening because of this anchor tag. When we use an anchor tag to add link, your entire page gets refreshed. To avoid that, React Router provides a link component which is need to be imported from React Router DOM library. And instead of ref, we need to use the prop. So we will change to link here also, and instead of ref, we will use to prop. Now, as you can see, when we click on the link, there is no page refresh happening. So we have fixed the refresh issue. But if you see, by just looking at the URL, we cannot say which page we're on, because we're not highlighting anything when we click on the navigation link. So, if you have multiple navigation links, it will be difficult to identify which is the current page. So let's say, in the home component, instead of home text, we're displaying this as first page. And in the profile component, instead of profile text, we're displaying this as second page. Then by just looking at the content, we cannot identify which page we're currently on until we see the URL of the page. So to fix this, instead of link component, we can use NavLink component, which is also from React Router DOM. It's exactly the same as link component in functionality, but the advantage is that it by default provides an active class. So in index.css, if we add an active class, let's say font weight, bold. And now, as you can see, I have not added anything extra for the NavLink component. But if, as you can see, I'm on profile page and profile link is highlighted, and when I click on home link, that's highlighted now. So using NavLink, we can easily identify which page we're currently on. So NavLink provides a default active class that we can use to apply any CSS as per our need. But let's say you're already using active class for other parts of the page and you want to use different class name instead of active. So let's say I want to use highlight class, and then I want to use font weight, bold, and color, orange. So I want to use this highlight class instead of active. So you can remove this active class now. And here we can add class name prop. For the class name prop, we need to give a function as a value. And the function will automatically receive an isActiveProp, which we will destructure. So if the isActiveProp value is true, then we will add the highlight class, else we will not add anything. So now, we can copy-paste the same for both of the links. So when we click on the home link, the isActiveProp value will be true and our highlight class will be added. So the highlight class just adds a font weight and color. So now, as you can see, whenever we're on a particular page, that link is highlighted. So this is about the highlight class. Now, in addition to class name prop, you can also provide a conditional style prop. So to give any inline style, we normally provide an object, let's say color, red. So as you can see, home link is now shown in red color. So for style prop, we need to give value as an object. So here, we can use style, like same function syntax where we will get isActiveProp. And here, we need to return an object. Let's say for color, if isActive is true, then we will add orange color, otherwise don't add any color. Now, we will apply the same style for other link. So now, as you can see, it still works. So if you want to add multiple values, you can do that too using style prop. Let's add the same for the other link. So now, as you can see, the font size is larger. So to style any link using NavLink component, you can use the style prop or use class name prop. But if you already have a class with a name active like this, then you don't need to add style or class name prop to add that active class. So these are the 3 ways to show links as active. Now, as you can see, the currently selected link remains active when clicked on it. So for now, we have created 2 pages, home and profile. And if you access a different page, let's say /help, then we don't get any data displayed. Also, there is no error in the console. Even if we enter some random path, nothing is getting displayed. This is because we have only 2 routes, / and /profile. We don't have any other route defined. So to handle invalid page route, let's create notfound.js file. Now, let's display page not found. Go back to home. So for this home text, we will use link from the React Router DOM to redirect to / which is homepage. Now, we will use this not found page component in index.js file. To use that, we need to add a new route at the end of all routes with path equals * and element equals page not found. So if any of the above paths do not match, then the last path will match and will display the not found component. So now, as you can see, I'm on this page and the page not found text is displayed, and when I click on the home link, I'm redirected back to home page. So this is how you can create a 404 or page not found page. So you have this not found page, which we have used in the root here. Sometimes, you may not need to create a not found page, but just redirect user to the home page. In that case, you can use the navigate component from React Router DOM. And we will redirect again to /root, which is home page. So now, if you go to any route which is not defined above, then you will be redirected to home page, which is the /root. Now, you can see, these routes are working. But if you enter some invalid route like /help that does not exist, then you will be redirected to home page, as you can see here. Even if I enter some other path, you will be redirected to the home page, which is as expected. So you can either create a component that you can use to display some text or use a navigate component to redirect the user. I will keep the code commented, so you can see both ways together. So that's how you can handle the invalid route in the application. So in this lesson, we will see common issue people face when using React app with React Router DOM version 5 and React version 18. I have created a simple React application. You can see I'm using version 18 of React. So I'm not using version 17, but I'm using version 18. And for React Router DOM, I am using version 5. Now, in index.js, you can see we're rendering app component inside react.strict-mode component. And inside the app component, I have only 2 routes. So, if you see, when I click on home link, I see home page content. But when I click on profile link, you don't see the profile page content. even though the URL is /profile, but when I click on the links, you can see the content is not changing. So even though in the profile component, I'm displaying this is a profile page, but I don't see that text on the UI, so the routing is not working. Because I am using React version 18 and React Router DOM version 5. So when you're using version 18, you need to remove this strict mode, because strict mode is more strict in version 18 and your routing will not work when you're using version 5 of React Router DOM and version 18 of React. Now, I have removed that strict mode line. And if you check, you can see the routing is working fine now. In this lesson, we will see how to manually redirect user from one page to another. Let's say I'm on the home page and I want to redirect user to profile page. So in home.js file we will add a button with text show profile page. On click of this button, I want to redirect user to the profile page. So to handle that, I will add an on-click handler, handleClick. If you have used version 5 of React Router DOM, you might have used const history equals useHistory, which is coming from the React Router DOM library. This is for version 5. But with version 6 of React Router DOM, useHistory hook is no longer available. Instead of that, you need to use useNavigate hook. So let's replace useHistory with useNavigate, and we can replace history with navigate. In version 5 of React Router DOM, we used history.push and then we passed the /profile as the path. In version 6, we need to directly call the navigate function. So useNavigate hook returns a function and we can call it by passing a route path. So now, if I click on the show profile page button, you can see we're redirected to the profile page. So this is how you can redirect user manually from one page to another. So in this lesson, we will see how to access URL parameters. Before starting with that, as you can see, I have created a simple code sandbox application with React Router DOM version 5. So, if you see, this project is using React Router DOM version 5.3.4. So you will understand the difference between version 5 and version 6 with respect to code. So as you can see, we have a home component which is rendered for /root, and profile component using /profile root. So as you might know, whenever we define any component as a part of root, that component will automatically receive some props. Let's say, I'm in the profile component and I will print the props passed to the component. Even though you can see, we're not passing any extra prop in the root, still React Router automatically passes some props to the component when we define any component as a part of root. So, we have added a console.log, and if I click on profile link, we can see history, location, and match. So these three things are passed by React Router DOM library. The history will contain the methods like push, replace, etc. Location will contain the URL information and match will contain the parameters information. So, these are passed in the React Router DOM version 5. But with version 6 you don't have access to that. As you can see, we're using version 6.5.0 of React Router DOM. Now, if I go to profile component and adds a console.log for props. As you can see, when I visit the /profile root, we get an empty object. Now, if I go to home component and console.log props there. And if I click on home link, you can see it's an empty object. So in React Rotterdam version 6, we don't get access to any of the history, location, or match props through component props. This is a good thing because it will make the final bundle size our application smaller as compared to the version 5. As React Rotterdam don't need to pass that extra information for every route as it might not be used by that component. But if I want to pass some URL parameters, let's say :id. So when I go to profile component, I want to get that ID in the component. But if you click on the profile link, you can see the props are empty. So let me show you here, in version 5 by adding :id. This is how you can pass any dynamic value like ID. So now, if I enter /profile/10, you can see, inside match prop, you get path. And inside params object you will get that ID passed. This data is accessible via props only in version 5 of React Rotterdam. And in version 6, if I try to access /profile/10, you can see, you get an empty object. So to get that information, in React Rotterdam version 6, we can use useParams hook which is coming from React Rotterdam and we can take out the ID. We're calling this as name ID, that's why we're destructuring the ID. So, if I print console.log ID, you will see ID 10 is printed. If I change it to 12, you get that ID 12. So this is how you can get URL parameters using useParams hook. If you just print params, you will see what it contains. You can see it's an object with name ID and value 12. So this is how you can pass dynamic information. So let's say, I'm editing profile of user 12 and I want to see the information of that user with ID 12. So in such cases, you can use these URL parameters. You can see we're naming it as ID, but you can name as anything. Let's say we name a username. So in profile component, we can use it. We can just see what it prints. Instead of 12, if I pass Mike, you can see object with key username and value Mike is printed. So we can destructure the username and print it. As you can see, Mike is getting printed. So you can use this name and display a particular information. So let's say, I have a list of users. Name Mike, age 20. This is one user. And second user with name Jerry and age 50. So I can add other information also. Let's say location New York. And location London. So let's say based on the past username, if I'm matching with this name, then I can get that user info using array filter method. User.name is equal to username. Then I can display this information. Let's say, I'm using JSON.stringify method. This will print it in formatted way. And as you can see, I'm passing Mike and you get all information related to Mike. If I pass Jerry, you can see only Jerry's information. And if you pass some invalid name, you will not see any data. This is because there is no user with that name. In such cases, you can redirect the user if you want. So if there is no user, you can use the Navigate component. As we're using version 6 of React Router DOM, there is no redirect component, but we need to use Navigate component. So you can use Navigate component from React Router DOM to redirect to the home page which has /root. So you can redirect the user or show some other message. As you can see, if I enter profile/Jerry, you will get information of user Jerry. And if I type some wrong value for username, you will be redirected to the home page. So that's how you can conditionally also redirect the user. So this is how you can get URL parameter as username and display information for that user. In this lesson, we will see how React Router DOM version 5 and version 6 differ when using the exact prop match. To demonstrate this, I have created a code sandbox demo example. As you can see, when clicked on home link, we see home page content. And when clicked on profile link, I still see the home page content, even if the URL is /profile. So this application is using React Router DOM version 5.3.4. As you can see, the first root path contains just / and second root path contains /profile. So both of the paths start with a /. So always when we access /for home and /profile page, the first root that matches the path will be displayed. To avoid that, we need to add the exact prop. Now, when we click on the home link, we see the home page content, and when clicked on the profile link, we see the profile page content. I have also added a new root, as you can see /profile/:username, which goes to the user info component. This component just extracts the parameter value and then displayed that name on the screen. Now, if I click the profile link to go to /profile root and then type /Mike, you can see it still displays the profile component instead of this user info component, even if I have mentioned that it should display the user info component. So when you have / and /profile, which both start with a /, we need to add the exact prop. So both the roots have /profile in the beginning. And I'm using the switch component, so only the first matching root will be displayed. So to avoid that, here also I need to add the exact prop. Now, we can see profile details of Mike. If I click on the profile link, we see the profile page. And if I go to /Jerry, then you will see details of Jerry. So this is the difference in versions 5 and 6 related to the exact prop. Here, this order of path is important. Here, we have added an exact prop. And if you don't want to add this exact prop, then you can switch this order. Now, you can see, I'm on the profile page. And if I change the URL to /Mike, you will see the content of both pages, because both of the roots start with the /profile root. So to avoid that, we can use the switch component. Using switch will only match one root at a time. And now, if I go to /Mike, I see only details of Mike. These are the issues with React Router DOM version 5, which version 6 solves. Here, you can see, I have created the same home component. So if you check in the browser, you can see this is the home page, and this is profile page. I will now create a new root with path /:username to display user info component. I will take the content from the user info component as it is. And I will create a new userinfo.js file and paste the content here. Now, I will import that component. You can see now userinfo component is created. And root/profile and /username. Now if I go to home, I see the home component and profile root shows profile component. And if I go to /profile/Mike root, it displays the information of Mike. So you don't need the exact prop with React Router DOM version 6. For each root, every path you specify is an exact match. So you don't need to switch root orders also. Even if I switch the order. For the home page, I see content from home component, and for profile page, we get the profile related content. So in version 6 of React Router DOM, you don't need exact prop for any of the root because every path is an exact match. And instead of switch, we use roots component for version 6. In version 5, you have to use switch component because you need to match only one path. In this lesson, you will see the invalid way of declaring the root in version 6. As you can see, I have a code sandbox demo that is using version 5.3.4 or React Router DOM library. So this was one way to declare a root directly in one line in version 5. There was another way of declaring component as a children like this. Now, you can see, with this change also the application is working fine. So this was another way to declare root in version 5. But this way of declaring root is invalid in version 6 of React Router DOM. This is version 6 code, and I will declare the same way of declaring component as a children. Now, if you see, you get an error in the console saying home is not a root component and all children's of roots component must be root. So in version 6 of React Router DOM, you cannot declare a root like this. In version 5, some people were using this way. And some people were using this way. So there was confusion which one to use and which is the correct way. So to avoid that, version 6 has removed this way of declaring the root. So in this lesson, we will see how to pass additional data when redirecting from one component to another. So to get started, I have installed React Bootstrap and Bootstrap library so we can display UI in a nice format. Also, I have imported the minified Bootstrap CSS file and the index.js file. I have also added 2 extra roots, /register and /details. You need to make sure to add these above the last not found page root. If you click on the register link, you can see this registration form. And when I click on the register button, I want to send the data entered by the user to the next page. To display that data, I have created the user details component. So if I click on this register button, you can see there is no data displaying right now. If you see the register component, I have added a link component here. So when I click on register button, I'm redirecting to the /details root. But we're not passing any data here. So to pass data, we can use the state prop of the link component. Whenever the user types in any of the input field, I'm using handle input change function to store that data in the state, which contains username, email, city, and phone. So when I click on the link, I want to pass this state data. For this state prop, you can pass any object. Let's say, I'm passing name Mike. So to get that data in the user details component, we can use the useLocation hook. For now, we can just log it to the console. So when I click on Register button, you can see state information with name Mike displayed. But we don't want just the name but all the data entered by the user. So in this case, we will pass the state object value which contains the user entered data. Now, I can go back to the register page, enter all the details and click on Register. You can see, all the data entered is available inside the state object inside the /details root. So to display that on the screen, we need to destructure the state property. And from the state, I will destructure other information. Also, always remember to assign an empty object whenever destructuring the nested property which is state in our case. So you will not get an error if the state does not exist. Now, you can see the data entered is correctly displayed. If I enter some other data, then you can see that data is getting displayed here. So this is how you can pass data from one component to another using the link component. So this is not just for link component, but we can also pass data using other components. So if you go to the profile component, here, we're using navigate component. So when there is no user found in the users array, we're redirecting to the home page. While redirecting using navigate also we can pass data using state prop. And you can pass let's say value, user not found. So any data you can send while redirecting. Now, on profile root, if I enter some invalid username then we will get that pass data in the home component. You can see we're redirected to home page but we're not printing that data in the console. So let's again use the useLocation hook in the home component. So now, you can see, we get that value, user not found. If I type Alex in the URL, you can see you get that value in the state. So this is how you can pass data through navigate component. In the home component, we also have navigate method. So once the user clicks on the show profile page button, we're redirecting to the profile root. As you can see, the first parameter of navigate method is the URL and the second is a list of options. So in this list of options, we can pass the state property which is available by default for the navigate method. Here, I will pass username, something else. Now, from home, we're redirecting to /profile/username. So in that profile page, we can use useLocation hook. So from home page, I will click on this button and we're redirected to this page. Here, you can see the location information. And inside that, we have a state. And we can destructure this state in the profile component and print it. You can see, state value is displayed in console. So this is how you can pass additional data when redirecting from one component to another. So in this lesson, we will see how to access query parameters using React Router version 6. For that, I have added a new root/products and also created a products component. Here, I have a list of products with ID, name, price, and rating. And in this component, we're just looping over those products and displaying them on the screen. So when I click on Products link, you can see the list of products displayed. So let's say, I want to filter out these products by passing query parameter rating equal to 5. So after passing this query parameter, I want to see all the products whose rating is 5. So to access query parameters, React Router version 6 provides a useSearchParams hook. So as you can see, this is coming from React Router DOM. Just like useStateHook, this hook returns an array with 2 values. For the first value, we can name searchparams, and second value we can name setSearchParams. So using setSearchParams, you can even set a new query string value, and using searchparams, you can get the current query parameter value. So, to get the query parameter value, we can use searchparams.get method by passing name of the query parameter we want the value from. Now, if I open the console, you can see the query string value printed. Now, let's declare a variable filtered equal to products. So by default, filtered variable will contain the list of all the products. And let's store this value in a variable with name rating. Now, if the user has provided the rating query parameter, then filtered equal to products.filter product, then product.rating equal to rating. The get method always returns a string, so we need to convert that value into an integer. So we will use parseInt method for that. We're converting the value into integer because rating value is an integer in the user's array. So as we're using triple equal to operator, both the values will match when rating is same. Now, instead of using the products variable, we will use filtered variable. So initially, we're assigning products to filtered variable, so we will see all the list of products initially. Now, if I add rating equal to 5, you can see products with only 5 rating. If I pass 4 as the rating, you will see only one product with rating value of 4. As you can see, only mouse has rating of 4. If you're not using setSearchParams for setting any value, then you can remove that. So that's how you can access query parameters in version 6 of React Router DOM. In this lesson, we will see how to handle nested routes. So if you see, I have created a simple application to display home and profile page. Now, if you see the home component, we have this code, and in the profile component, we have this code. So let me add a new nested route inside the profile component. I will add a route here. Path equals friends. And element equal to. Let's create a friends component. Here, I will display a list of friends. Now, I will use that friends component here. To display this component, we need to add a new link. And it will go to /profile/friends path. Now, you can see, when I go to home page, we're getting this content. But when I click on the profile link, you see an error saying, every root should be a child of the roots component. So in the profile component, we're using a root. And in version 6, you cannot directly use root component. Every root you define in the application has to be in the roots component. So if you see index.js, you can see all the root we defined are inside the roots component. Now, you can see, home and profile component is correctly displayed. But when I click the show friends link, we're not seeing the friends component. Because in the list of roots, whenever you define a nested root, inside any of the component, you need to add slash and star at the end of the path. Now, we have added slash star and we're displaying nested root here. It should be friends.jsx. So now, every root in the profile component like slash profile slash friends will be accessible. Now, if you go to profile, click on show friends and you can see, a list of friends is getting displayed correctly. So whenever you define a nested root like slash profile slash friends, we have slash friends root inside profile component, but you don't need to specify it with complete path. So if you're using version 5, you have to specify it like this slash profile slash friends. But in version 6, every nested path you specify is relative to the parent component. So when I click on show friends link, we're going to slash profile slash friends, but you don't specify that while defining root path as it will be relative to the parent component. So path slash profile and any nested root like slash friends or slash settings will be accessible because of the star at the end of the path. So that's how you can render nested roots in version 6. In this lesson, we will see how to create multiple nested roots in another popular way. So if you see, in the previous lesson, we created this application where we show a list of friends on the profile page. So, here we have created a nested root in the profile component. Let's move this from this component to the index.js file. Here, I will add that in between the opening and closing tag of profile page root. Now, from the profile component, I will remove the unused code. And I will not need this slash star. Now, we have profile page and on click of show friends I want to show that list of friends. So to display the friends nested root inside the profile component, we need to specify where in the profile component the content of the friends component will go. So we specify that using outlet component in the profile component. So this outlet component will render the contents of the nested children components inside the profile component. So wherever you want the nested component content to display, you put that outlet component there. If you check now, you can see the friends component is displaying correctly. So let's create one more root with path : name. So when I click on any of the friend name, I want to see that name. So instead of friends, let's create a new component with file name friend.js. Here, I will use usePerms hook. So here, we're calling it :name, so in friend component, we're destructuring the name property, and I will say, welcome, and name. And now, instead of friends component, I will use friend. I need to make these links. So inside friends, I will use link component for names. and to equal to slash. Now, what will it be path? So we have nested the ;name path inside the profile component. Therefore, the path will be /profile /:name. So this will be path we need to use. So, inside the friends.js file, it will be /profile /Alex. For Mike it will be /profile /Mike. And for Jerry it will be /profile /Jerry. So now, we have the names as links. And when I click on the name, we can see welcome message. Let me change the div to p tag, so you can see it better. So this is how you define nested roots. So, if you see, here we have defined /profile as the parent root. And inside that root, we have nested these roots. And we need to specify where these nested root content will be displayed. So to define that, we use the outlet component in the parent component. So if I don't add the outlet component, you will not see those nested roots content. So, even though the URL is changed, you don't see the content. So once I add the outlet back, you can see the nested roots content. One thing you need to remember is that the nested root path does not start with /profile like this. And we don't need to specify it, as every path nested inside the parent root is relative to the parent root path, so you don't need these. So you can see, it's working fine without the extra /profile path. This kind of nesting is also have one advantage. So let's say I want to restrict the access to the nested roots. To handle that, I can create a protected root. So, let's say I have defined a variable isLoggedIn equal to true. And I will pass this as a prop to the profile component. Now, in the profile component, I can destructure it and add a conditional check here. If isLoggedIn is true, then display the outlet component, else displays some other text. So, now if you check, I'm on profile, and when I click on show friends, I can see the friends list. But if I change the isLoggedIn value to false, you can see, whenever I click on show friends, I see the please login message. So this is how you can also create protected root using nested roots in version 6 of React Router DOM. So that's it about this course. The content of this course was taken from this React Router 6 course, where you have learned the basics of the React Router 6. So all these basics videos we have already covered in this video. If you want to put this learning into practice and build a beautiful and advanced course dashboard application, then check out this course. In this course, you will have a login page and course dashboard and details page. And you will learn how to retain logged-in user session, how to implement protected access to certain pages only for logged-in user, instantly load content on the same page using Router 6, and much more. And when you click on the individual course, you will see that course details along with the recommendations for other courses. And only the logged-in user will be able to see the course details page. You will also learn how to instantly load course content when clicked on the individual recommendation, and much more in this course dashboard app. If you found this crash course useful, then do like it and subscribe to the channel to get upcoming video notifications.